welcome to another episode of Single People Manenos. It is your girl, Harry Mimi. I am so excited that you decided to tune in to today's show. And we are going to be discussing a topic which I believe is like super relevant to singles. Here's what it is. Should I settle? Yeah, that's the question we're going to tackle today. Should I settle? So I'm in my 30s and time is running out. And well, this guy, he looks interested. He wants me to marry him. And yeah, does he align up to all of my values? Not necessarily, but is he okay? Yeah, he is. So why not just marry him? Should I settle? That is a question that we want to answer today. And as we begin our discussion, we want to look at, first of all, why do we even consider settling, by the way? Why do we even want to think about settling for somebody when we get married? One reason why most singles, let me not say most singles, but some singles tend to settle for their marriage partner is because they have lost hope. You're like, I'm in my 30s or I'm in my 40s, and well, my prospects are few. This guy or this gal is willing to marry me, and they're good. I mean, you're not going to settle for somebody who's like maybe totally evil, but okay, so they're good and they're interested in marriage, and okay, fine. So, okay, let me just marry them. So we lost hope. We are thinking that, okay, I can't get somebody better than this. Not to say that that person is bad, but like I won't find another person. Time is running out. So let me just, okay, this is the one that I know. Better the devil I know than the angel I don't. So, okay, let me just, yeah. Now that there's nobody else on the horizon, let me just settle for this one. Most singles, when they decide to settle, it's because they lose hope. They're like, time is running out. I'm in my late 30s or I am in my 40s and I really want to get married. That is my desire. Nothing wrong with that. And since this guy, well, he is around and he's available and is into marriage like me, then okay, let's do it. Let's go walk down the aisle. Losing hope. That's one reason why some singles decide that they want to settle. They've just lost all hope. They're thinking that, okay, time is running out and I don't think I'm going to get, I don't think there's another prospect in sight. Let me just settle for this guy or this gal. Lost hope. The second reason why singles also decide to settle in marriage, finding in marrying somebody, is because of societal pressure. Oh my gosh, sometimes society, the pressure is just too much, and you end up bowing to the pressure. Because society, or when I say society, of course, the people who are around you, whether they're your family, extended relatives, your friends, colleagues, everybody is just looking at you like, okay, biological clock. You're a girl, so you better get to it fast. Your childbearing years, they're coming quickly to a close. Especially if you're like mid 30s, you're headed towards your 40s, or even if you're in your 40s, it's like society is like, what are you waiting for, by the way? As in, you should have gotten married a long time ago. You should have gotten married in your 20s. What were you doing? Didn't you find a boyfriend in college? Societal pressure. And because you want to bow to that, society is making you feel like you are less than an individual because you're not married. Or what? There must be something wrong with you, by the way. How are you 40 and you're not married? You're a woman or you're a guy. You don't have focus. Or maybe you don't want to get married, or maybe, society's pressure. Sometimes it can be so much. Bearing that weight, having to go to, social gatherings and everybody's looking at you like, okay, you go to a wedding, don't worry, you're next. Or going somewhere and people are just looking at you like, yeah, it just gets awkward sometimes. And because of that immense pressure, then we decide that, okay, the next person who asks me, I don't even want to know who they are or whatever, I will say yes. The next person who asks me to marry them, I will say yes. And that is how we end up settling and just marrying whoever we marry, just so that we can say that, yes, I got married. Yes, I had the white wedding. Now, please leave me alone. I am married. You wanted to be married? I am married. That is why singles end up settling. Those two reasons. One, they have lost hope. Two, Society's pressure, sometimes, y'all, it can just be so much. You just bow down to that pressure and just marry the next person who asks you to marry them. Whether you like them or not, whether they are compatible with you or not, whether your values converge or not. You're just like, this is better than, being single. Let me just get married. So you end up settling and you get married. Now, what are the consequences of this? What happens when you settle in marriage? When you marry somebody who you know for sure, this is not who I should marry, but I'm just tired of being asked when I'm going to get married. I'm tired of being reminded that the biological clock is ticking. I am just tired of, at every family gathering, I am being looked at weirdly because I'm the one who's above, I'm headed towards 40 and there's no prospect. So because of all of that, we settle. What are the consequences of settling because of that? I can only think of one consequence: misery and regret. Why? Because you married for the wrong reasons. Remember, marriage is supposed to be for life, and it's not to be entered to just as, just casually. You're not just getting married for the sake of getting married. Like, okay, let me get married so that you'll get off my back that I am single. Let me just get married so that, I do not be lonely. Let me just get married. No. Marriage should just not be entered into lightly. Marriage is made by God. It is an institution that was instituted by God in the Bible, y'all. It is important. Marriage is for a reason. Actually, the primary reason of marriage is to glorify God. So if you marry the wrong person, you settle and you just marry the first person who asks for your hand, whether you like them or not, whether your values converge or not, then what happens? You're not going to glorify God in that marriage. Why? Because you're going to be unhappy. Why? Because you didn't marry the right person. And here's what I'm not talking about: finding the perfect Mr. Right, the person who has, previous videos I talked about lists. So I'm not having this illusion of Mr. Right, Mr. Right, Mr. Right. No. I'm just saying that sometimes as singles, we settle and we marry people who we know we shouldn't. For example, you are a Christian, right? So you have your values, you have your principles. But because now this whole pressure about marriage, you're just like, okay, let me marry this guy. Okay, fine. He comes to church once a year. Well, at least there's some form of Christianity, some form of godliness there. Okay, let me settle for that. You enter into marriage and you're just finding that your values are clashing. This guy is just not a Christian at all. For all you know, maybe he was just there to get a wife. As in, okay, yes. So I understand that the people still go to church to find their spouses, guys and girls. So that is still a thing. So you just find that you are clashing because you decided to settle. You decided that this is the first guy who's asking me to marry him, so let me do that. Misery and regret. That is usually the consequence of settling. So what is the alternative? What is the alternative? What can we do as singles? I would encourage you to wait patiently and joyfully. Yes, it doesn't matter your age as a single. I know there's a lot of pressure in the world telling you that time is running out. People are looking at you like you're weird. How are you 40 and single? Or is it really your dream? There must be something wrong with you. All of that, you have lost hope. There's the external pressure. There's also the internal pressure that now you put on yourself. All of that is going on. But I want to encourage you to wait patiently and joyfully. Yes, joyfully. Open Gangnam Style. Most people regard singleness like it's some death sentence. It's like it's some limbo. It is some place where you should be unhappy. The only time you'll be happy is when you finally cross the bridge and you get married. No. Wait patiently and joyfully. And waiting patiently is an attitude, by the way. It is not, waiting does not mean that you are being patient. No, waiting patiently means that, by the way, I am looking forward to marriage. I am hoping that I'll get there one day. But as I wait, I will continue to live my life. I will do whatever it is God has put me for on this planet. I will advance myself. I will grow. I will eat life with a big spoon. That is what waiting patiently is. It's not hiding somewhere and pining and crying day and night. patience. Waiting patiently means that the day is going to come, but before it comes, I am going to live life to the full. I am going to enjoy myself and have fun. Have fun as a single. All right? So, should you settle in a marriage partner? I do not recommend it at all. I do not recommend it at all. And at the end of the day, remember that marriage, by the way, is not the goal of life. It is a beautiful part of life, but it is not the goal of life. Marriage is it's a stage, it's a phase that some people will enter into and some people will not enter into. But that does that diminish your value as a human being? It does not. Does that bear any weight to you going to eternity as a Christian? It does not. So please, single people, the wait is hard. There's no denying that. The wait is hard. You want to get married, there is that. But let us not settle and marry the wrong person, because remember, marriage is for life. We're not marrying so that we can divorce. I know right now, us as young people, we're just like, hey, ikiumana, apana, divorce lawyer, yuko wapi?
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along.
No, that is not what we are. No, we're not getting married with, having the thought in our heads that, by the way, if it gets rough, I'm just going to divorce. Marriage is meant to be for life. And if it's meant to be for life, then you should be keen on who you choose as a marriage partner. Do not settle. Wait on the Lord. Be patient and be joyful. And trust me, He will give you the desires of your heart. That's what He tells us in Psalms. Delight in the Lord and He will grant you your heart's desires. If He's put in you the desire to get married, then I believe that at His appointed time He will be able to get married. So let's wait joyfully and patiently, and please do not settle. Do not settle. All right, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Single People Manenos. Please feel free to like, to share. If you have any other views or any other stories, by the way, about settling for marriage, please let me know in the comment below. Let us not settle. Let us wait joyfully and patiently. Eat life with a big spoon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.